guys, so my name is Dr. Promise, and together with me is my darling husband, Mr. Raphanes. Say hi. Why are you smiling? So today there was something very important that I want us to talk about. I was talking to a friend earlier sometime this week, and she's about to get married, and she asked me a very important question that kind of left me a little puzzled. She asked me, what are the factors that we have to consider, or that I had to consider when I was trying to get married? And I was so confused, didn't really know exactly how to answer her. And so I wanted us to deliberate a little bit on that, and I wanted to also ask my husband to get a man's perspective on going into marriage, and also a little bit of female's perspective on going into marriage. So, babe, so I'm going to ask you, what are the things that you considered when you were trying to get married? And do you think that was very important in helping you make that decision towards getting married in general?
Well, you see, people will have to consider specific things based on who they are, but there are things that are quite generic. I think is applicable to everyone. One of the things I think is, for a man, if you want to get married, first of all, you have to be sure that you're ready. You have to be mentally ready and willing to commit to marriage, because marriage is a lot of responsibility. You tend to lose your freedom, your privacy, and so you really have to be ready for that.
You lose your freedom. So you lost your freedom when you were getting married?
Relatively.
You don't have any freedom.
That's what it is, man.
Okay. So you have to be sure that you're ready to get married.
Consider some of those things. It's one thing, some people like the idea of getting married, but they don't like the responsibility that come with marriage. You know what I mean? So that is very important. Another thing is you need to be self-aware. It's very important that you understand yourself. I want to believe that 80% of problems, misunderstandings, arguments that happen in marriage is because of lack of self-awareness. Sometimes your wife will say, hey, I think you're too selfish. And you tend to argue so much about it and think your wife is rude for saying you're selfish. Sometimes your husband will say, hey, babe, I think you're dirty. Maybe you need to improve your hygiene. And you feel like, oh, he's trying to talk down on me. Instead of trying to look into the reality. Am I really dirty? And some things are quite subjective. Something like hygiene is very subjective.
It is.
So there are people who are super clean. There are people who are... So if you really stay with someone who is super clean, even though you are clean,
it may not be on par.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That kind of a thing. So
one thing I realized about marriage is that it exposes that side of you that you never thought you had. You might think you're all perfect. I am the most perfect woman on planet. Honey, when you get into marriage, it's gonna bend you down. You're gonna be humbled.
And I think it's very important that you're self-aware. Another thing is, from a man's point of view, you really need to understand the original purpose of marriage. This is something people don't even think about. I need a wife.
So why do you need a wife?
I'm of age. Why?
Because
why don't I get a girlfriend? Why don't I get a baby mama? Why don't I get a side chick? Why don't I get a man? Why do I need a wife? Why don't I get a roommate? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, you need to understand why you have to get a wife.
Right.
There is an original purpose starting from the Bible. How Jesus created Adam, give him the responsibility to take over the earth, and think he needed a helpmate. So if you have this idea of why, now you can know who you need. There are 3 things you need to know: who you are, why you need the person. That will guide you to know who you need. So this is very important.
Okay. So let me summarize. So first of all, before going into marriage, you need to be self-aware, understanding, knowing that marriage is going to expose you, bring out that side of you that you never thought you are. And second of all, knowing the reason why you want to get married, the purpose of marriage, and going back to the foundation of God in the originality of why he created marriage. He created a woman to be a helpmate for the husband, and understanding that when you get married, whether you're a man or a female or a woman, that you're getting married to have a companionship.
And I want to talk about something. God created a woman to be a helpmate for the husband, but most people might misinterpret this. That does not mean that a woman is beneath a man. Your helpmate can be better than you. So let us not, for that reason, enslave our wife and think that, oh, she's my helpmate, start home and wash clothes and wash dishes and cook food.
Which is a lot of expectation that so many men have before they go into
we
marriage.
really need to look at that. For her to help you doesn't mean she is beneath you. She might be better than you. So always go for the best.
One thing, when you said that, when you're saying something about a woman coming to getting married, do you know the person that reminds me of? Israel.
No.
Israel, Davido's side. Israel now. Israel, the Niger Israel. I think he went into marriage for the wrong reason.
I don't want to talk about people, but I don't think so. I don't
We'll talk about Israel.
I don't know what about his issue is. I don't want to pick on people. I mean,
absolutely, I think we should.
But I don't know.
He went into marriage for the wrong reason. What was the girl's name? Sheila?
I don't even know that personally. So
anyway, so the second, I like
another
that.
thing I think is expectations.
Expectations.
It is very important that you manage your expectations, because trust me, it's going to be the number one thing that is going to lead you into disappointment,
expectations,
and all that. Don't expect so much from people. I was told sometime that people don't disappoint others. Our expectations of people disappoint us.
Wow, that's big.
And I ask why. Someone tell me that if I think someone is a very responsible person and I see that person doing something wrong, how do I feel? I feel bad. I'm disappointed. But if I think someone is irresponsible and I see that person doing the same thing bad, how do you feel? You don't feel bad because he's irresponsible. So it's not really about that person, it's about your feeling of that person, what you think of that person. I'm not trying to say you shouldn't hold people to a high esteem, but always manage your expectations. Just know that things happen and design your life in a way you still have control of your emotion.
I really like what you say about expectations, because men or women, we go into marriage with so much expectations of our spouses. For example, you'd expect me to maybe always cook a full noodle every single day and it will be fresh. Which, honey, it's not always like that.
You can remember, in the first 1 year of our marriage, I cooked 60% of the times. So, you know what? I decided that before I met you, I was cooking, I was okay, I was doing my thing. So now I met you, I pretend like you weren't even existing. I would just cook my food and come out and say, babe, do you want to eat? And you were like, oh, you still act like you're not married. But I mean, what do you want me to do? I don't want to depend on you, because if I think you should make food for me and I will say, hey babe, make me jollof rice, and you didn't do it, I'll feel disappointed. I could get angry. But I know how to make it, so why don't I go to the kitchen and do it?
Yeah. I think marriage is like partnership. Sometimes your wife is going to be at work, she's going to come back late, she's going to be pregnant, she's going to be tired, and she's not always going to be there to make meals.
Exactly.
Just being able to bounce off each other, knowing what to do, I think it's very important. People go into the marriage that the wife is always going to do laundry, wash my dishes, or wash my laundry, or even make meal every single time, and it's not always going to happen.
I don't know if I have seen you do my laundry for once.
I have never done laundry since I got married. I stopped doing laundry since, and it's not because I thought, it's because you know how to do it very well. You started when we got married, you started doing laundry, so I left that responsibility for you to do, and I didn't even bother myself.
One thing is this: all the things I do for myself when I was single, I didn't stop doing it for myself.
Right. Yeah.
And I never felt disappointed. I never felt someone should have done something for me and all that. I think it's very important. Expectation is something you really need to manage. Manage your expectations, and you probably will be more happy.
And one thing is that we all have our weaknesses and our strengths. You have a strength in doing laundry, and I have my own strength in doing other areas.
So my strength is laundry.
I'm just saying that we all have our strengths and our weaknesses. And I cook really well.
Olubu soup is something new.
I cook olubu soup very well. Anyways,
another thing to look out for is
family influence.
You see, family always come to protect their own. And marriage is a place where someone needs to be a little bit vulnerable. So family come without emotions. Marriage work on emotions, and through emotions you compromise. You know what I mean? But your family members come in without emotions, so they use logic.
Right.
And it can really ruin your marriage.
Right.
Because they will find the least fault of your spouse. But you, being a woman or a man in love, might not really notice those faults. But when your family keep finding them, highlight them, and make it feel like it's a big deal. If you don't have a strong sense of maturity, it might really be a big deal.
Right.
So you really need to manage family and manage information between you and your wife and your family. What's who and what everyone should know.
Right. And I think when it comes to family influences, we need to set boundaries, knowing what to say, how to present our spouses to our family. Always present your spouse in a positive light. Don't use negative words in front of your mom or in front of your dad or with your sister. Be like, oh, this is my stupid husband or whatever husband it is, or my stupid wife. Don't say that. Present your wife in the best possible light. Oh, my darling wife, she's the best. She did it. No matter what she does. Well, when there is domestic violence, yes, absolutely. No, but this is just... Don't always be quick to pick up the phone and tell your sister about something that your husband did, because she's not going to forget it. When you eventually forgive your husband, she is always going to bring it up and see your husband in such light that you have presented her to.
I completely agree to that. Family sometimes...
It causes a lot of issues, and I don't know why. And I think they're just trying to be overprotective of their
I think that is being overprotective, and sometimes it doesn't really help their loved ones. And I think you should vet who you are getting married to very well, to the point that you should be able to be vulnerable enough with that person. It's very important. And self-confidence is another thing.
Self-confidence.
It's so important in marriage that people don't understand how important it is. Self-confidence is so
being
important.
Confident in yourself.
So important, especially for a man.
Oh, for women too, you need to be confident.
And for a woman, you need to be confident too. But for a man, it's way more important. Because I can tell you, 60% of domestic abuse are caused by self-confidence. I don't get my statistics anywhere, but presumably up to that are caused by self-confidence. You will see a man who lack of self-confidence, especially when the wife is ambitious or successful. You know what I mean? So you really have to have a certain level of self-confidence to be able to manage such a successful or ambitious wife, because at some point you get to understand that people are not competing. And on a woman's side, you must learn to how to manage success.
Right.
For a woman, I have had so many women said, my husband doesn't support me. I've had people said, my husband don't want me to work. My husband is forcing me to resign my job. My husband is all that of a thing. Sometimes I really wonder the type of men they are. Why don't you want your wife to succeed? Because I feel like if my wife is successful, I'm successful.
I think sometimes men have their own reason for saying that. I've seen a man that, let's say, makes 5 billion naira or $5 billion a month or a year and be like, oh, I feel like I make so much for the family that I don't think that the wife needs to work. Well, in some situation, I'll be relaxed.
Well, that's totally different thing right here. I mean, situation, the woman will even volunteer not to work.
Yeah, but women find that very annoying. They want to work. I've seen a lot of women who be like, I want to work for my own money and I don't want to have to talk to the man for every little penny that I need.
Most times, most of the women that say this already know the man better. There are some men who want you to resign your job so they can have total control of your life.
True, yeah.
So women have seen that coming and they'll be like, I want to hold on to this job.
What do you think the woman should do in such a situation whereby the man was like, don't work and just stay at home and take care of the kids?
Well, I think people should discuss such before marriage.
Okay, absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's going to be a major problem.
Right.
It could even result to the, So it's a big deal. They should have that conversation before marriage.
Yeah.
And that, okay, this is who I am. Is this. Most men find ambitious women very attractive.
And so threatening.
But when they have them, they find them now threatening.
Oh, wow. They find it attractive in the initial stage.
Yeah.
And then when they're married, they find it threatening. That's crazy.
Some men want to go to bank and see that woman, she's 25, she's a bank manager. Wow. Yeah. She's very good. She's always dressing nice. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to be there. By the time you marry her and she go to work by 6 in the morning and doesn't come back by 9, you'll be like, do this.
Yeah. And change all of a sudden.
So that's some of the things. And the way you find her attractive, some men might feel like, oh, the way I admire her when I go to.
Yeah.
And maybe some other men are doing that too, and it becomes a security concern. That's why confidence is
very important.
And another thing is that's more important than confidence is managing success.
Oh my God, that is big. You're right. That
Very
is big.
few women can handle success. And I feel there is a fundamental problem with raising a girl child. Women have been made to believe that a man is a provider. Women has been made to believe that a man should be better. So many women immediately they think they're better than a man. They don't even find a man attractive again. So women can't even respect or submit to a man. So if you see that on your wife, it's already a threat to your marriage.
And sometimes I know all this are not always there before marriage. These are the things you see while you're in marriage.
Well, in those things, you're probably not gonna see it before marriage because maybe for the woman to accept to marry the man, he was probably doing well. You understand what I mean? Marriage is a long journey. A lot of things can change on the road. So, opinion. I feel like women who might just look at Amazon, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Yeah. Look at the husband.
Yeah. They're beautiful.
It's just I think a doctor in Nigeria. The doctor in Nigeria, where the wife is.
Right. Yeah. Very happily married.
And has been a minister for 2 terms, and there have been so many. She has been just there. She has been a World Bank director, and she has held so many international positions. Yeah. And still retain her, rest her husband. So women cannot do that.
Yeah. I don't know what that is. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it depends on how you are raised. If everything around you is based on money and success, it could really affect how you think, how you regard people.
Yeah. The thing I've also realized is, I've seen a lot of men, and I'm just speaking from the female side, is when the woman start making money, the man will be like, oh, bring money and send it to my account.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there is nothing wrong if your husband says send the money to his account. Or send the money to you. Yeah, there's wrong with that.
Send the money to your account. All the money I make, I send it to your account.
Yeah. But it's not even who. I don't care if the man sends to the wife account or if the wife sends to the husband account. That's not even the problem.
Yeah.
Because if you people have an understanding, if
You guys can have a joint account.
Well, not necessarily. Yeah, somehow. Or you feel like your husband managed money better than you. There is nothing wrong. I have seen.
It's just for the man to try to be in control of the woman. Send the money to my account, then I'll now tell you how much I'll give you to buy whatever. And he has all the money, and he's going to take all the money that the wife make, and he's going to use it and not give the woman at all. Well, that's controlling.
Well, I don't know how that works. Maybe we'll try to introduce it in our marriage, but you know. How that works. If you teach me that, I will be glad to.
Yeah. We're not gonna talk about that one. No.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, to the end of the video, or do you want to still talk more?
All right. Thank you so much for listening to us.
All right. That's nice talking with you guys.
That's why I was.